A guy who can shoot energy constructs out of thin air just got taken out by a sniper rifle. A kid who's never worn a Green Lantern ring just accidentally created a bird made of pure willpower. And somewhere in an intergalactic prison, the most dangerous Green Lantern to ever exist just asked a question that might blow this entire season wide open. That's episode 2 of Lantern. And if the premiere convinced you this show could handle mystery, Trustfall is here to prove it can handle mythology too without losing a single ounce of what made the first hour work. This is Movie Break, and we're breaking down Lantern Season 1, Episode 2. What actually happened, what it means, and why that final scene might be the most important 30 seconds the show has given us yet. Episode 1 asked if aliens were real. Episode 2 asked if the good guys are lying to you. This is a full review ahead for Episode 2. If you're not caught up, now's your moment to bail. Everyone else, let's get into it. We're still in 2016, still in Rushville, and the episode wastes zero time getting back into the dynamic that made the premiere work. Hal Jordan being a spectacularly unconventional mentor. He wakes John up by dumping ice water on his face. No warning, no context, just straight into training mode. And after everything they learned in the first episode that something hostile might be headed toward Earth, Hal's first move isn't to call anyone for backup. It's to teach John how to fly. His entire teaching method boils down to 2 words: think flight. John tries and tries. What he actually manages to summon isn't flight at all. It's a small green bird made out of pure ring energy, fluttering around him like it's got a mind of its own. Hal Jordan's training philosophy in one sentence: throw someone in the deep end and see what floats. It's a small moment, but it's doing a lot of work. That little bird isn't just a funny beat, it's the show quietly telling us that John's connection to the ring doesn't look like anyone else's. We'll come back to that. With the ring running low on charge, Hal sends John back to his ridiculously oversized estate to grab the power battery that keeps it juiced up. Simple errand. Except nothing in this show stays simple for long. While he's there, John stumbles onto something that changes the entire shape of the episode. The container holding Hal's lantern isn't just a box. It's a doorway into another dimension entirely. And in order to get past its security, John has to call Hal just so the ring can recognize his mentor's voice. Once that's done, curiosity takes over. John finds Hal's actual Green Lantern suit hanging nearby and can't resist holding it up against himself for a second, imagining what it would be like to wear it. It's a throwaway moment on the surface, but it's foreshadowing dressed up as a joke, because by the end of this same episode, somebody does end up putting that suit on. Just maybe not who you'd expect this early. Then John heads outside to feed Hal's pet, a plant named Earl, who turns out to be a full-blown carnivorous creature the size of a small car. And that's the last normal thing that happens to him all day. The second he steps off Hal's property, he's ambushed, tased, zip-tied, and thrown into the back of a van. What follows is one of the most kinetic sequences the show has attempted so far. John is fighting his way loose and sprinting the wrong direction down a packed highway, weaving through oncoming traffic while trying to outrun men who are very clearly not amateurs. It doesn't work. He's eventually run down and brought face to face with the person actually behind all of it. This is where episode 2 stops being a mystery show and starts being a full-blown mythology drop. Anton is the one who orchestrated the kidnapping, and he doesn't waste time easing John into the conversation. He wants John's help specifically. He wants John to find something for him. But first, he needs John to understand exactly why it matters. That's when he introduces the concept of manhunters. According to Anton, manhunters predate the Green Lanterns entirely. They're synthetic beings capable of blending seamlessly into any species, building technology far beyond what their host civilizations should ever have access to, and carrying out what they consider justice in the most brutal way imaginable: total annihilation. The scariest villain in this universe might already be walking around Rushville wearing someone's face. Anton tells John that his own people were wiped out this way, and that when the Guardians appeared to withdraw from his world, one of them secretly stayed behind, disguised, embedded, and patient, before engineering a massacre from the inside. To make sure John truly understands the stakes, Anton has his men hold him down while a device forces the memory of that destruction directly into his mind. It's not subtle, and it's not meant to be. John comes out of it shaking, screaming, and completely wrecked by what he's just experienced secondhand. Then Anton drops the part of the story that turns this entire episode sideways. He claims Hal Jordan arrived after Anton's people were slaughtered, took the surviving manhunter into custody, and promised they would be executed. Except Anton doesn't believe that ever happened. He thinks that same manhunter is alive right now, hiding in Rushville, and that the aliens killed at the football field in the premiere were part of his own team sent to track it down. Worse, he thinks the timing of Hal's arrival right after their deaths isn't a coincidence. He thinks Hal might be protecting the very thing everyone's supposed to be hunting. Then comes the deadline. Anton and his crew can't get into town without being detected, so the job falls to John to find the manhunter, because in human form it can be killed like a human, and he's got 48 hours to do it. If a random green bird made out of pure willpower is already your favorite character this season, you're going to want to be here for every single Lantern's breakdown going forward, so hit subscribe now before the mythology gets even deeper. Back to the episode. While John is off getting recruited into an alien manhunt, Hal is dealing with his own mess back in town. He shows up to a public meeting with Billy Macon at his side, who's just gotten some old charges against Hal dismissed because apparently getting Hal Jordan out of legal trouble is now a part-time job for this family. After making his usual amount of noise at the meeting, Hal takes a much darker darker detour. He breaks into the morgue and steals the bodies of the 4 aliens killed back in the premiere. What follows is genuinely one of the funniest images the show has produced. Hal wrestling 4 corpses into the back of an ordinary sedan and driving them out to the football field, where he runs them through what looks like an oversized metal detector. Turns out that's exactly what it is, not for weapons for alien. And Hal quickly puts together that this kind of tech has Will Macon's fingerprints all over it. Sheriff Kane confirms his suspicion, even though she clearly thinks going back to confront Macon again is a terrible idea. She's right. Hal corners Macon and demands to know what other unnatural technology is sitting on his property and gets answered with a bullet from one of Macon's snipers instead of a conversation. Hal Jordan asked one too many questions, and the answer came out of a rifle. He wakes up in a hospital bed with Kane nearby, and this is where the episode slows down just long enough to actually deepen these two characters. She finally asks him about the name that's clearly been sitting between them since the premiere, Sinestro. Hal opens up, admitting that Sinestro was once his mentor before Hal was the one who brought him down. It's a small crack in Hal's usual bravado, and it's enough to genuinely thaw things between him and Kane. As they leave, Hal notices something that should probably worry both of them more than it does. The hospital is suspiciously empty, with equipment that looks like it's never even been used. Kane brushes it off. The show does not seem interested in letting us forget it. When Hal and John finally reunite, John doesn't hold anything back. He tells Hal everything Anton revealed, including the part where he was explicitly told to keep Hal out of the loop. In the middle of all of it, Hal notices something that stops him cold. John's little green bird is still alive, still fluttering around, even though he's not wearing the ring anymore. Hal is stunned. Sustaining a ring construct without the ring itself isn't something a brand new lantern should be able to do. He tries to dig into what the bird might symbolize, clearly sensing there's something deeper going on. John shuts the conversation down almost instantly, insisting it's just a bird, and dissolves it back into green dust like the moment never happened. John says it's just a bird. The show is very obviously telling us it's not. It's a tiny scene, but it lines up perfectly with everything the premiere already told us about John, that his relationship with fear, control, and instinct doesn't run on the same rules as everyone else's. Whatever that bird actually represents, the show is clearly not done with it. Here's where the episode saves its biggest swing for last. Hal suits up in his full Green Lantern uniform and flies off-world entirely, arriving at an intergalactic prison built to hold the galaxy's worst offenders. He's not there for a tour. He's there for one specific cell, and the being inside it is Sinestro, the legendary Green Lantern who turned into one of the franchise's most iconic villains. The reunion isn't hostile, at least not at first. There's an odd flicker of warmth between the two men, like unfinished history that never fully cooled into hatred. But Hal isn't there for a reunion. He wants to know about Manhunters straight away. Sinestro's answer is the line that closes the episode, and it's the kind of gut punch that instantly reframes everything we just watched. He tells Hal that if a Manhunter really does still exist, it wouldn't be the biggest threat currently facing him. It would be the second biggest. Then he asks Hal to tell him about John Stewart. One sentence, and suddenly John isn't just the trainee anymore. He might be the actual threat everyone's circling. Trustfall is exactly the kind of second episode a mystery show needs. It doesn't stall out waiting for the next big reveal. It detonates several of them at once. We get an origin story for the Manhunters, a reason to doubt Hal's version of events, a hospital scene that quietly deepens the Hal-Kane relationship, and a closing line from Sinestro that turns John Stewart himself into a question mark. What makes it work is that none of it feels like filler dressed up as mythology. Every new piece, the bird, the portal, the alien detectors, and Sinestro's warning, connects back to the central mystery the premiere set up. Something happened to Hal Jordan, and the seeds of it are being planted right now, in real time in front of us. So here's the real question heading into episode 3. Is Sinestro warning Hal about a threat hiding in Rushville, or is he warning him about the kid standing right next to him? Let me know your theory in the comments. And if you want the episode 3 breakdown the second it drops, make sure you subscribe to Movie Break. See you in the next one.